good afternoon, wherever you are. Okay. Rebecca, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Good morning, Eva. Good afternoon, good evening to those wherever you are. Um, it's a pleasure to be with you, to be on screen with my friend, Eva Jordan Johnson. As she said, my name is Rebecca, and I am a lot of things. Beyond being a wife and a mother of two, I am an attorney by trade. I am a licensed minister, and I have a master's in marriage and family counseling.
Oh, very good. Rebecca and I know each other for years before she was married. so, Rebecca, tell us what is what is story work and how did you get this work? How did you get involved in this work?
That's a good question, Eva. So, what is story work? As I mentioned before, I have a master's in counseling. And also, I'm a licensed minister. And so, really, story work marries two things I'm very passionate about, that are very important to me, which is my faith, and then something of counseling, something of what it means to sit with someone else as they're going through a difficult time, as they're struggling through something. How do we sit with someone and be with them in their difficulty without jumping in and trying to rescue or trying to fix things? um how do we offer like the gift of being present to someone while they're going through something difficult? And so story work actually offers the opportunity to do just that. You may do story work with one-on-one with a story coach like myself, or you might be part of a story group, something of a small group where the specific topic of conversation is something where you're going through something, you're struggling with something difficult. Perhaps you have had an event that you would classify as traumatic, and it's been hard for you to catch your breath, get your bearings, figure out how to navigate through something that's really difficult. And story work offers you the opportunity for people who are also struggling to sit with you, that you won't might not be alone as you work through those difficult things.
Oh, thank you for sharing. And you may be wondering, as a stroke victim, why did I ask Rebecca to be on our show? I want to pause here. I know that I have to, but when I speak, I have to slow down and enunciate. Enunciate. So if you do not understand me in the comments, put it in there and I will explain myself. Feedback is a gift from you to me. Okay? So don't be you will not hurt my feelings. But the question I have for today is and I'm using this paper. When I was a when I had my stroke, what were your initial thoughts during my ICU stay? How to recovery and my discharge?
That's a that's a good question, Eva. And I really have two answers. I mean, as your friend, as someone that has known you for years, um, I, I think my first reaction was just, uh, oh, Jesus, please show up, and protect my friend and care for her. Um, Look out for her family, care for them as they go through the unthinkable, the unspeakable, something that none of us thought was going to happen, anticipated was going to happen, and couldn't really prepare for it. And so, as your friend, my reaction was that. Um, as a story coach, what I think about is that, going through something as life altering as a stroke, or and that is whether or not you are the person who had the stroke, or your caregiver, friend, family to someone who had a stroke, you may have that sense, and you'll tell me even if this is right, a sense of life before the stroke and life after the stroke,
Amen.
right?
That's
And and that would tell me that a stroke is something that I would, in my story work, put in the category of a traumatic event, right? What do I mean by that? An event that is so significant that it alters the fabric of your everyday life, to the point that you have this perspective of there was life before and life after. And so I know trauma is a word that gets thrown around a lot. It's kind of a buzzword right now. And our first reaction might be like, no, no, right? What I went through is not traumatic, because there are people who've gone through much worse, people who have had it a lot harder than I have. And I would say to that, there's no such thing as comparing struggles, comparing difficulties, comparing traumas. Um, and so if you have a sense of life before and life after, I would say, yeah, it falls in that category. And story work can be something that can help you process, what does it mean to kind of navigate a new normal? And how do I do that well?
okay. Thank you for sharing that. That was really good for me to hear how stroke healing can be helpful to other people. Okay. Uh, and remember, even though you are what you are going through, you can still use different you can use different people and things to help you. Okay? As Rebecca, mm, you gave me a list of questions so that I could be prepared to met a prospective counselor. I can't see. I can't see the one. Just put it on there. You gave me a list of questions that I could vet the prospective counselor. Would you mind reviewing them with our audience?
Yes, so you're referring to mm, the conversations that we had about, I want to find a counselor, and how do I do that?
Yes,
Um, I think all good questions. So some of the things that I think about, some of the things that we talked about when you're trying to consider, like, uh, what does it look like to get help, and what kind of help might I seek out? I certainly think looking to a professional licensed therapist is a good thing to consider. So, um, a couple of things that I suggested that you ask about is to ask like, one, to feel like you can go in and to ask for a consultation where you can have a moment to get to know them a little bit, and they can get to know you, so you can decide if it's a good fit. Just because someone is a licensed counselor doesn't necessarily mean that it will be a good fit for you. Um so there might be simple things to think about, like, do you prefer a male counselor or a female counselor? All right. And when I say prefer, I mean, what will make you feel safe? If you have any reason to feel awkward, embarrassed, unsafe, uncomfortable around, for example, one gender over the other, then that's something you should take into account. So I think I mentioned that to you, right? Do you prefer a male or a female? Um, I would also say that, um, the perspective that the counselor holds, the theory they have about how therapy works, and what constitutes healing and what constitutes, like, problematic, or difficult behavior or experiences, that matters. The frame that your therapist holds over that matters. And so I would ask some questions about what's their theory of counseling, what's their theory of healing, and how do they do that. For me, and I can say for you because we've been friends for so long, as both Christians, as people that follow Jesus, as people that believe in God. For me personally, it's very important that my counselor have a similar faith background as I do, um, because my faith so strongly informs my sense of right versus wrong, my sense of healing, my sense of what is like appropriate, acceptable outcomes and behaviors and things like that. So I would ask questions about your therapist's belief system, whatever yours is, whatever, how, if you're a person of faith or not, like your sense of right versus wrong. I would ask some questions of your therapist about that, so that you can have a sense of, there'll be some alignment, some agreement between you and your therapist about what it is that you're aiming for, and how you know that you have done well and reached some goals or succeeded. The other things that I would think about is, were you getting ready to ask me a question, Eva? Because I saw you lean forward.
Oh, I want to just interject that it was so helpful for me because I have not I was not gone to a counselor before, and as a former stroke victim, I didn't know what to ask. So you helped me. She you helped me a lot. So I just wanted to interject and say that that was very helpful for me, having never gone to a counselor before.
I'm
Okay,
glad. Yeah, I'm
thanks.
glad.
Thanks. Uh, is there anything you would like to share with people who had a stroke or or disability or accessibility or the caregivers? People, uh, what would you like to share?
Yeah, I, I think, and I'm coming at this from the perspective of someone that is close to you, someone that is standing in the shoes of not necessarily your primary caregiver, right? But someone that cares very deeply, and someone who, you know, um, whose lives are interconnected in a way that that I feel some impact um, of your stroke and your healing process and your recovery process and your new normal, which means it's our new normal in the ways that it's impacted how we communicate and the work we do together, including this podcast that didn't exist, before the stroke. And so I think what I would encourage everyone who's listening, whether you find yourself um, smack in the middle of the stroke story, or you're somewhat of a supporting cast character in someone's stroke story, that it's hard, it's difficult, it is a sense of new normal, and there are likely 1,001 emotions that are involved in navigating that new normal. Um, and my sense is you'll be all over the map, as I was, from sad and grief stricken to and heartbroken to angry to excited and celebrating, like the ways that your loved one gets up and carries on. And so just to encourage you that wherever you are in that process, whatever you're feeling, you get permission to feel those things, and you get permission to take your time to navigate new normal at a pace that feels like doable to you. And I would encourage you, right, to reach out, to build community, build support where you can, so you're not navigating new normal alone. And that might be a counselor, it might be a story coach or story group, it might be extended family, it might be people in your church community, wherever that is for you. Um, don't be afraid to say, hey, I would appreciate it if you would walk with me, because this is a new thing and it's a little difficult.
Thank you so much for sharing your heart with me and with you. And to the people who are listening, where in the world are you listening from? Put it in the comments below. Say, or where in the world are you cheering from? Put it in the comments. Uh, I started this show for healing because I was told to do something. I was told to do, but God told me to do this. So He is providing the resources. And I'm just following along. And I just want to say this. I uh, this is my podcast show hour. I should just say my hour because it takes a village. Our podcast stroke for healing. Share this with not just anyone, but share with someone who will benefit from this. Is thank you, Rebecca, for joining us, and do come back. Give us a little, uh, Rebecca. Tell us a little bit. Give us a little intro of what's coming up next.
You want me to
Yeah.
share a little bit about part two?
Yes, yes, please. Come back again, because Rebecca was sharing part two. So can you tell us a little bit about the part two? Just an intro, so people may come back.
Sure. So we talked, Eva, you and I, a little bit about story work and how it might help or be of service to someone that's been impacted by a stroke. And so what we're going to do in part two is get a little bit deeper into that, and maybe hear a story from someone that was impacted by a stroke, so that you can kind of hear firsthand how that work might be encouraging and helpful to you.
Okay, so you have to come back. You want to know a little bit more about how to share the story, how you can share the story. But again, and don't forget to subscribe and come back for part two and
Yes.
hear Rebecca's story. And thank you for joining us today, wherever you are. If you're OG and you have listened before, put that in the comments. That will help me. And thank you, Rebecca, for joining us. How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, thank you, Eva. So you can reach me and my story coaching practice, Solid Foundation Story Coach, at on the internet at www.rebuildingmyfoundation.com, or you can find me at on Instagram at Solid Foundation Story Coach on Instagram.
Okay. Can you repeat that and go a little bit slower for people who have problems? Uh, when you just repeat yourself, please? Thank you.
Sure. You can find me on the web at my Solid Foundation Story Coaching Practice at www.rebuildingmyfoundation.com. www.rebuildingmyfoundation.com, or on Instagram at Solid Foundation Story Coach.
Okay. Thank you for repeating yourself. And I will. I. If you have any issues, put them in the comments, and we will be checking back to see the questions in the comments. And remember, you put the outside and soap for healing on YouTube. And then if on Instagram, you put and soap for healing. Also, that's how you can get in touch with me. Okay. Thanks for sharing. And Rebecca, please stay on the line afterwards so that the technical part will be taken care of. Thank you so much, and thanks always and my broadcast would be a blessing. Thank thanks be a blessing for someone else today. Oh, thank you. Bye bye. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna stop the live now. Thank you.